fellow students. In the previous lecture we had seen the types of emails and also how to write email ID. Later on we also focus on how to write an informal email. Today our focus will be on formal email writing. The same rules that we are going to follow, we are going to make a box as you can see. I also want you to draw three sides of your box and keep the bottom line for the last. And then we have to make three lines in between because we have to mention who is writing the email, to whom the email is being written, CC and subject. This goes similar to that of the informal email. The minor changes would be like this. Many of the times it would be important for you to fill up the CC space because this is formal email, and let us recall also that formal email is written to someone who is related to you at a higher hierarchy. That means to your higher authorities, or maybe to someone in a professional field, or to someone who is working with you, maybe your colleagues, whether they are above you or below you. So from the email ID of the sender, that would be your email ID because you are writing the email. Second line 2. Don't forget to put columns in a straight line as it is visible over here. 2 will show the email ID of the receiver, the person's email ID to whom you are writing an email. CC, if you can remember, CC stands for carbon copy. Carbon copy means the same email will be sent to another person also whose email ID you are going to mention over here. But what's the difference between writing an email ID in 2 and writing an email ID in CC? When you write email ID in 2, the entire email and all the instructions that you are going to write in your body paragraph goes to this person. That is the email ID of the person or the person whom you have mentioned in 2 section, and that person has to follow all the instructions that are given in the body paragraph. And the person whose email ID you are going to write in CC would just take notice of the email. He or she is just going to look at the email for information purpose only. Like for example, if I am writing an email ID of my students in 2 section and I am going to give an assignment in the upcoming body paragraph, then these assignments should be written by all the students whose email ID I have mentioned in 2 section. I will also give email ID of my HOD, my coordinator, or maybe my principal in CC. So it does not mean that my principal, my coordinator or my supervisor has to write this assignment, but their email ID has been written over here so that they can see that an assignment has been allocated to the students. So whosoever's email ID you are going to mention over here, that person is looking at the email only for the sake of A. Let me give you an example from any organization or corporate. If I am an employee and I am a senior manager in the company, if I am writing email, my email ID would be here. And email ID of the person to whom I am assigning the task. For example, I am assigning a task to some of the IT professional who is working in my company over here. And I want to show my boss that I have allocated work to this IT boy or IT girl. And so I am going to put the email ID of my boss in this area so that he can look that I have assigned the work. So this works as a proof. Then coming to the subject, it is similar to informal email, but remember formal email subject should be to the point. If the person is your friend or relative, they are going to ignore your subject material. By just looking at your mail, they are going to open your mail. But people who are into the formal work experience or in the formal work front, they are obviously going to look at your subject, and then and only then they are going to decide whether they want to open your email or not. Supposedly, if I am working in any housing finance company or if I am working in any bank and I am coming with a proposal and I am sending an email to the customer, at that time if I write subject housing loan available, so many of the customers are not going to read this email. Why? Because they are not in need of housing loan, and thus subject plays a very important role for the customers whether they want to open the email or not. So keep your subject to the point. And yes, most importantly, never write your subject as urgent work or urgent email. That urgent email and urgent work type of subjects most of the time go to your spam folder. So try to avoid this mistake. Coming to the main passages, and you can see the first email when you write is our salutation. In informal email, our salutation was dear friend, dear cousin, dear uncle, dear aunt. But here we are going to make use of sir or madam. And we are going to address the sir or madam with dear. Okay, some of the students may have this query, why there is no respected over here madam. Let me warn you that nowadays respected is taken as something which has gone way back, that is an old method. These days, even if we write to our principals, even if we write to people who are at a higher authority than us, even the chairman of the company, then also the dear word is used. So mind well this word dear. Don't use respected if you want to update yourself. So use dear and then use sir oblique madam. See, if you are aware of the person to whom you are sending an email, the person is a female or male, choose anyone. But if you are writing to someone and whose gender you are not aware of, for example, you are writing an email to the secretary of a company and you are not aware whether that person is a male or female. You are writing it to the editor of a newspaper and you are not aware whether the editor is a female or male. Obviously, you are not going to take any risk, and that's why mention sir, oblique, madam and comma. Don't ever put it as ma'am, M-A''M, M-A''am. These are some of the wrong contractions that we make in our formal emails. So remember, we are going to make use of full name, that is madam, and also don't forget to put a comma after that. We don't need to write this word salutation. We are directly going to write this dear sir, madam. This is just for a reference purpose. Then leave a line. And this is the word which you have to write in each of the formal email. Greetings. And then exclamation mark. Why greeting and exclamation mark? Greetings. Whenever we meet a person, we obviously greet them. Like for example, good morning, good evening or good afternoon. But we don't know when the person is going to open our email. It might happen the person opens our email early in the morning, or maybe your receiver is opening your email during the evening time. Whatever should be the time of the day, we are using only this word greetings rather than writing good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Okay, so this is the word greetings which is used to address them, which is used to pay our respect to them. Okay, so whatever time it is, I am paying my greetings to you. So G capital, greetings, and put an exclamation mark. After that again, we are going to leave a line and moving towards our main body paragraph. Okay, this is the most challenging part because you have to first of all in the first paragraph introduce yourself. 3 points means you are going to make 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph will comprise of introducing yourself and you have to mention reason for writing your email. What do we mean by introducing yourself? The person might be receiving your email for the first time or the person might not be knowing you. So it is important for you to introduce yourself. For example, if you are writing an email to your class teacher requesting him or her for a leave of 4 days, how are you going to write it? Obviously, in the beginning, you are going to introduce yourself. I am XYZ from Standard 10, Division A, roll number 42. So that is your introduction. And supposingly, you are writing to Municipal Commissioner, you are writing to a person who is working in Nagarpalika or someone who is in charge of many of the social services, then you are going to write like this. I am one of the concerned citizens of your city. Or if it is letter to the editor and the topic is likely to affect so many people altogether, maybe an entire country, you can write like this. I am one of the concerned citizens of your country. Okay, so remember this line. I am one of the concerned citizens. Okay, one of the concerned citizens. Whenever we use this phrase, one of the noun after that will always have S after it. So I am one of the concerned citizens of your city. I am one of the concerned citizens of your country. Then next, reason for writing. You can put it in second sentence or you can continue it like this. I am one of the concerned citizens of your city and I am writing this email to draw your attention towards the uneven roads in our area. So see, I have mentioned reason altogether. I can also put a full stop and start a new sentence. I am writing this email to draw your attention towards uneven roads in our area. Now for example, if you are writing this email to the editor of a newspaper, the beginning would be bit different. You can introduce yourself and after that you can write, through the columns of your esteemed newspaper, I would like to draw your attention towards the unawareness of COVID-19 in our city. So this way you are addressing a large audience. So this is a phrase you are going to use, through the columns of your esteemed newspaper. I would like to draw your attention towards, and then write the reason. So this goes for email to the editor. So this is introducing yourself and also mentioning your reason. Coming to the next paragraph. Yes, the toughest of all. Explaining reason in detail. In the formal email section, that is informal writing, I told you that here you have to use your creativity. You are writing for the sake of complaint mostly. You are writing for awareness mostly. So you are going to explore this entire problem in the second paragraph. For example, if I am writing it to the secretary of my society, how am I going to write? My introduction will go like this. I am one of the residents of your Gokuldham society residing in bungalow number 24, and I am writing this email to draw your attention towards inadequate water supply in the morning. Okay, society is there and you are writing it to the secretary because water supply is not adequate. It is not enough in the morning. So how you are going to explain this reason in detail? You can explain like this. Since 1 month it has been noticed that the water supply is available in the morning only from 7 to 9 a.m. Most of the people or most of the members in my family and in our society wake up after 8 o'clock. Till the time they get free, they freshen up themselves, the water supply gets over. Due to waste, many of the time, some of the members or some of the people in the society have to go to work without bathing. Women in the kitchen are not getting water to cook food and they are facing too many problems. Even household chores begins after 10 a.m. like washing clothes, cleaning utensils, and this inadequate water supply is hindering the daily chores work of everyone in the entire family. Right? So you have explained your problem in complete detail, and this is going to affect so much to the receiver that he or she has to take some action. Let's see one more example. Supposedly I am writing an email to my teacher for requesting a leave. What am I going to write in the detail section? I am obviously going to mention that I have been suffering from toothache since last 4 months, and finally my dentist has suggested me and is ready to take my tooth out, for which purpose I have to undergo a minor surgery, and the appointment date has been decided as 18th May. So because of that, from 17 May to 21 May I won't be able to attend my lectures. As soon as I recover, I will be again back to my classes, and I also promise you to complete my pending work as soon as possible. So here you are going to explain your reason in detail. What is the reason why you are going to be absent? Which are the dates when you will be absent and you won't be attending your lectures? And also making assurance or giving assurance to your teacher that yes, you will keep up with your studies and cope with the studies when you return back. So that will be explaining your reason in detail. Going to the last paragraph, what you expect. Obviously, you have written an entire email just for the sake of some complaint, some problem, or some type of issue that is in your hand. So you are going to expect something, right? For that purpose, you have to write the last 1 or 2 sentences to the receiver. And how you are going to begin it? With some kind of desire. I hope you will understand my situation and grant me leave for 4 days. So what do you expect? You expect that your teacher gives you or permits you for the leave of 4 days. The same way, if a resident of a society is writing, I hope you are going to take this matter seriously and will increase the water supply timely. So see, again you are showing your expectation. What is your expectation from the secretary of the society? For example, if I am writing it to the editor, I am going to write, I hope that you are going to highlight this problem in the columns of your newspaper and spread awareness among people. So see, again your expectations. So this way, introduce yourself, write the reason for writing your email in the first paragraph, go to second paragraph, explain the entire reason in detail, last paragraph show what you are expecting from the receiver. Then leave a line and come to the closure. For closure, you have two options available to you. The first one is you can either write yours faithfully. In informal email, we have written yours lovingly, and here we will write yours faithfully. As you can see, Y is capital and no apostrophe S. F is small, and then put a comma and come below. But there is another option also available to you because this is formal email. If you don't want to write yours faithfully, directly write regards. You can see R capital, write regards and no comma. If you are writing regards, put a full stop. That is the rule. So two options, either yours faithfully comma or regards and full stop. Don't write both of them. After writing this, come to the next line and write your name, that is name of the sender. If you have written your designation over here, for example HR manager @Infotech Development, you are going to write here HR manager. Write your designation rather than writing your name. You can also write your name if you wish to. That's it. And after that, draw a line and end your box. Always remember to draw this line at last, otherwise you will be confused where to put the last line, and you can save your time from rubbing this line wherever it ends. Okay, so I hope this formal email writing is quite clear to you. You can show your queries or any kind of questions that you want to ask in the comment box below.